Can you tell me your name?
Brian Mako?
Okay, so you realize that I'm doing this interview with the idea of showing it to my students to make them aware of mental health issues.
Yes.
Okay. So you were diagnosed with panic disorder, correct?
And agoraphobia.
At what age were you diagnosed?
23.
Can you tell a little bit about what happened when you were originally diagnosed?
It started off with some physical conditions, digestive issues. I was prescribed some medications. That after about a week of using them, I wasn't feeling right. Didn't feel like myself. And was told by the doctor to discontinue use. A couple days later, I was at my job, worked at a pizza shop, and my employer at the time told me to sit down, that all the color had gone out of my face and I didn't look right. I felt fine. I didn't know anything was going on. He sent me home. Kind of felt fine, a little shaky, but didn't really know what was going on at the time. I went out to a store to pick up some gifts. This was December 10th, 93. And I just had a sudden urge that I was going to die standing there in line. Grabbed what I had in my hand and quickly left the store. Just threw everything in a car and drove home as fast as I could. It kind of subsided when I had gotten home. Didn't really pay much attention to it at that time. But then the next day and each day after that, just would wake up in that state of panic, feeling like if I didn't get out of where I was, which was my own home at the time, that I was going to die. So I spent about 6 months or so pretty much living in my car, just getting in the car when I wake up, would drive around all day, listening to talk radio or music to distract myself. Just drove around Delaware County until I was exhausted. Sometimes I would drive an entire day, sometimes it would be, 12, 16 hours, and then I could finally go home and I was that tired and fall asleep for maybe 6 hours or so, and then wake up and do that again all over. And that lasted about 6 or 7 months. That got a little bit better, but it was still being at home. I was always on edge. Like felt like my eyes were wide open, heart pounding. Just could not get comfortable anywhere I was. That lasted into probably 95 for a couple of years. We had moved into a new apartment. It was still pretty bad through, I'll say, 99, 2000. And then when I got involved in my daughter's sports, got involved in coaching, was able to get through some of that. Never head coach, just like assistant, kind of doing the books, whether it was basketball, softball, soccer. There were still times where I would have to leave and go home. Away trips for games. A lot of the times, if it was any further than 10 or 15 minutes away, I didn't go. It eventually got better. I'd gotten on a medication in 2005, Klonopin. they had tried me on 5 or 6 other medications. Um, Buspar, Neurontin, Effexor, um, something with a W. I can't remember what that was called.
Wellbutrin.
Maybe all the so-called antidepressants or whatever, but every one of them made me like violently ill. So I just stopped taking them altogether, and then they tried me on the Klonopin, and that seemed to have helped. And just over the years, in 2009, I separated from my then wife. Moved back in with my mom. Things immediately got better. And then over the years, things just progressed to. I would have episodes where the agoraphobia, just not wanting to leave the house, would kick up, especially if I was having any physical issues. Um, Things just, I just learned to live with it and it just became normal, so it wasn't that drastic when it did happen. It was just like, yeah. Um, just getting older, it seems like a lot of that fear and anxiety and the panic has subsided. Again, we'll still have days or episodes where that'll kick in, but it's very rare at this point. Um, Now it's more the episodes of agoraphobia that happen. I still don't like traveling too far from home. Don't like. Well, I won't go around large crowds. Um, Anywhere that I feel like I'm going to get trapped. Uh, you know, that kind of stuff's out.
Looking back, is there anything that you could say started it? Any stressor that may have brought it out?
I mean, home life growing up was pretty rough. My dad was pretty violent, um, physically and verbally abusive. I mean, the verbal abuse didn't really bother me. That's just how it was in the 70s and 80s. Physical stuff. Um, there was a period of years where you didn't eat your vegetables, you got beat before you went to bed. I don't know if that contributed to it or not. I know I hate vegetables. I'm sure that has something to do with that, but um, he had a lot of anger issues and short fuse. Later on, found out alcoholic and into drugs. He left. My mom kicked him out when I was 9. Um, Saw him sporadically here and there. There was a lot of yeah, I'll be over and not showing up type stuff. I do remember later on, maybe 12, 13, we were going to go to, or we did go to Busch Gardens in Virginia. And I was sick with like anxiety and digestive issues for the 2 weeks leading up to going and all the way down there. Like, once I got down there, I was fine. Like, it just completely went away. But before that was pretty bad. And a couple other trips and stuff where I would get the digestive issues and feel a little nervous. beforehand, but once I was there, even if I was going into the city, into Philadelphia on the train with my mom or something, that would happen. But once we were like on the train or at the museum or wherever, it was gone. So I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to it. In my teen years, I don't remember having any issues with it at all. Um, Me and my friend would just pick up and go to Wildwood for 2 weeks with, you know, a gym bag with clothes in it and not a care in the world. Um, Went up to New York one time with his father to pick him up from the airport. Nothing. We had gone up to Dorney Park. I'd gone out to Lancaster. You know, we did all kinds of stupid stuff growing up in high school and everything. I won't go into all that. But there was no sign of agoraphobia or panic disorder, I would say, from like 15 to 23.
What changed at 23?
Well, by the time I was 23, I was married, had a 3-year-old daughter, and a newborn. I was working 7 days a week at my friend's pizza shop from 11:30 in the morning until 12 at night every day. Whether that was something that triggered it, brought it on, the stress, the responsibility, all that stuff that I wasn't aware of or how it was going to be, and being that young, and I was pretty irresponsible at that time, obviously. Um, I think looking back on it, I would say it would be that trying to shoulder that responsibility, and my then wife didn't do anything to help in any way. Um, but if I look back, even into other instances in childhood, there was always that awkwardness and not wanting to be around certain other family. Extended family made me uncomfortable. Couldn't sleep over people's houses as friends. I couldn't make it through the night.
So, looking back now, if you can change anything, like 6 months before the first panic attack, can you pinpoint one thing that you would have changed that maybe it wouldn't have been as bad when it started?
No, because like I said, I didn't even know it happened. It was maybe if his dad doesn't point it out, I don't even know. Like I don't.
Okay.
He just saw that all the color was out of my face and made me sit down like there's something wrong. I'm like, I felt perfectly fine. I didn't have a racing heart. I wasn't sweating. I wasn't doing anything. I didn't feel any fear at the time. I was, everything was fine. Now, 6 months prior to that would have been when like the digestive issues started, but I don't know if one led to the other or I was already having the effects from stress and maybe the panic disorder and I didn't know it, and it was just manifesting itself digestively. But I mean, my diet sucked, but I don't think that really correlates with a panic attack.
So, I know most people think panic attacks and anxiety attacks are the same, which they are not.
No.
Um,
I've had anxiety attacks. They're more of a physical response to a situation, to where you start to have trouble breathing or chest feels tight, everything gets sweaty, or you're just uncomfortable. For me, an anxiety attack is like sneezing at this point. where a panic attack feels like you're going to die if you don't get out of whatever situation you're in. And that could be as little as standing in line at Wawa behind six people, or stuck in a traffic jam, in an elevator, on a highway or a bridge. I mean, highways and bridges don't bother me now, but there was a long period of time when I delivered luggage that I avoided highways and bridges just so I didn't get stuck, because there were a couple of times that I did, and I would have to literally turn around and go in the wrong direction on I 95 or the Blue Route to get back to an exit to get off, blowing down the grass or the shoulder of the road, or skipping in and out of traffic, putting people's lives at risk just to get out of that situation. And there were many times where I was stuck in a situation, got out of it, but I don't remember how I got out of it, and I was in a vehicle, so it was very dangerous.
Your fight or flight response in your body kicked in. Along with the medication, there's other ways that you can treat panic attacks or agoraphobia. How are your coping skills now compared to the way they were then?
I had went through therapy for probably 7 years, and I have to say it did absolutely nothing for me. I'm not going to say it doesn't work for other people. For me, it was just going in and talking about whatever happened during the week, and I didn't really get too many. For me, just what I've learned myself, the thing that works for me would be distraction. So if I'm in a state of anxiety, or I feel it going that way, or I'm just at home, and there's been times where I wake up in a panic, and or I've gone home in a panic, whatever. As much as I hate social media and stuff like that, the phone is a great way to play Call of Duty or something like that, and next thing you know, a couple hours went by and you feel fine, and you didn't even know that you had felt better. So I still always have music on, or talk radio, because you can get into that when I'm in the car. I didn't develop any of that until like the past 10 years. Before that was, if I'm out somewhere, go home. If I'm in the house or whatever, go out. It was kind of the opposite of, if I didn't feel good at home, get in a car and take a drive. If I felt like crap, out, go home. The past 10 years, 12 years, whatever it's been, I've done a lot more. I've gone places, tried a lot of new things, been to new places. Obviously, my support system's different. I don't feel like I have to hide it or be embarrassed about it. I'm comfortable with trying, because I know if something goes sideways, I don't have to, I'm not stuck there. I can go home. Some were actually more willing to try things, and as stupid as it sounds, like going to just a restaurant. Normally, people with panic disorder and stuff, you stick to what you know. Like, you'll watch the same movies over and over again. You'll eat the same food. Everything's always the same. That way you don't have to worry about anything. But I have tried numerous, restaurants and different places, and as silly as it sounds, watching new movies that I've never seen, that are supposedly popular, that I never watched. So I'm open to a lot more things. still would like to get into a more aggressive therapy, but these days it's pretty hard with insurance, and apparently everybody has some kind of anxiety disorder, so it's kind of hard to get in. Um, Also, there's a possibility of ADD, which would make a lot of sense going back into school. Um,
That would also contribute to the what if thinking. You can't shut your mind off. So
yeah, my mind, as we're having this conversation, I'm thinking of things. So it's like I can have a conversation and still be thinking of other things that either need to be done, that I have to do tomorrow. Um,
if you could tell somebody, or not tell somebody, if you can give somebody a piece of encouragement that has panic disorder, what do you think it would be?
I mean, my first thing would be I wish I hadn't have jumped in a car when it had happened, because I didn't fight it. I took off. My response was always just leave.
Well, that comes down to the neurological fight or flight. So even though
Right, but
you jumped in the car,
if you can force yourself to just stay there, you're not going to die. Nothing's going to happen to you. The worst that's going to happen is you're going to hyperventilate and pass out, which I've had. That's happened. That happened way in '93, and it only happened twice. But unfortunately for me now, 32 years later, it's impossible for me to just go, I'm going to stay here. Nothing's going to happen. It's my brain has wired it. I would have to go through some kind of treatment, training, whatever you want to call it, to get myself out of that, because I've wired my brain to get up and leave an uncomfortable situation. Doesn't matter what, if I could be at home by myself, if I'm doing something and it makes me uncomfortable, I'm just, I'm setting it down, I'm walking away from it. Like, my go-to response to anything that's causing me a problem is just kind of walk away from it. But if anybody that, you need to fight through it. You need to first seek help. It's not your fault. Don't be embarrassed.
and back then it wasn't something that especially males didn't talk
Especially, yeah,
about.
men didn't. I lost family and friends over it, because I got the. I don't talk to my brother to this day because of it. He thought I was making something up and being lazy. Somebody who's lazy doesn't work 7 hours a day, or 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. Plus, I was building a car. I had a motorcycle. Like, I had two kids. I was, if I wasn't sleeping, I was always doing something. I was never just sitting around. So that stigma, even I got that from doctors. When I went in, I had a doctor tell me you need to just deal with it and kind of like walk it off, which that was the last doctor I went to for a very long time, because I was like, you went to med school for that? So, yeah, most people didn't know about it until I really got to know them. My wife, I don't think her family thought it was legitimate or cared. I don't know. My mom would have been my biggest support at that time. I believe at that time she was the only one that actually, she may not have understood it, but she was sympathetic or empathetic, or tried to learn, or, tried to help me as much as she could. Yeah, I didn't go, my friend knew, but he didn't get it. And, again, it was, most people just went, huh? and just blew it off because nobody ever heard of it. I never heard of it. There was always awkward people or people that were shy and stuff like that, but not to that degree, especially not a grown man. Um,
I think a lot of it has to do with what people are willing to learn about as well. Um, you're right. Since the early 90s to now, mental health has become much more um, aware. People make it self aware too. Like they let people know.
yeah, it's a lot more open. A lot more people talk about it.
If you could walk through a typical day when you're doing something and it starts, with the exception of going home and retreating back home. Like I know for a fact you've had days where it started and you barrel through it. It might not be in 10 minutes, it might take a while, but
I mean, the most recent one I would say is we took a ride out to Lancaster. It was probably 11 o'clock at night and just decided to take a ride. And we had gotten out probably about an hour away. And I could feel it kind of starting. It wasn't a panic, but I was getting uncomfortable. Started with, I bite my lip when I'm nervous. So that started. I get quiet. You'll know when it's happening. Like I'll get very quiet because I don't ever shut up. So suddenly it like gets dead quiet and I start looking off somewhere and here it comes in my head and my knee will start bouncing or I'll just start fidgeting and I was able to I'm not really going to give myself credit that I got myself out of it. It just went away. Whether that was me talking, going back to talking, or looking out the window at the farms, or the train was coming up. Um,
there's been other times though
but
where
it subsided and we cruised around and had a little adventure and headed home.
there've been other times where it's been significant enough that you were able to. You might start retreat and then you'll go back to doing what you were doing. Your test is a giveaway. When you had the endoscopy test done.
Yeah, I mean, that was a full blown panic attack
Mm-hmm.
at the surgical center to get the test done. We left, like, I wasn't going to get through it at that time. Like 20 minutes later, as we were driving, as you were about to take me home, again, I'm not going to give myself credit. I don't ever give myself credit for that stuff. I think the medication had kicked in fully by then. So it was like, all right, well, let's try. Now again, as soon as I got there, they hooked up an IV, hit me with the meds, and after that, I don't care. Um, but again, there was meds on board prior to going. I just don't think they had fully kicked in by the time we had gotten there. Plus, I'm in my head. Instead of worrying about just getting from the car into the building and the building into the room and the room and I'm worrying about recovery and what's going to happen and what screw ups there's going to be and all of that stuff. What are they going to find? Which was absolutely nothing. It was perfectly, there nothing, no polyps, no damage to my esophagus, stomach. Everything was perfect, which I don't know how, but.
So, what do you think are the important things to work on or make sure you have to help you get through times like when you're in full-fledged panic? Rather than just, I understand you're saying distract yourself, but what are other coping skills or aids that you have that could help?
I honestly, from therapy, never really learned any. I mean, stuff that I had looked up on my own, like once the internet came along and stuff, information was a little more free flowing. Um, there was one guy that I remember talking to. I guess he was a psychologist. I don't know how long ago that was. Talked about some kind of, I don't know the term for it, but thinking of some place that you love or something that, like somewhere you've been that was like really cool, and you could, like Stroudsburg Railroad where they have the steam engines in Lancaster County.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, just imagine that you're there and think of everything that's going on,
The
the
smell.
sound, the smells, the wheel moving, the little pieces moving, people walking around, the tracks, that take in every little bit and like kind of build that train and the experience. I guess it's a form of meditation or
Almost
just,
like a distraction therapy.
yeah. I mean, he did call it something. I want to say transcendental or transformation or something. Kind of transporting yourself somewhere else that's calm. And I'll just use this from Happy Gilmore: find your happy place. I don't know. Um, Somewhere that's not causing you the stress and the anxiety, and because the panic today it doesn't come out of nowhere, something triggers it.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. So, if you have a car accident,
I don't have a problem with that.
you don't go into full-fledged panic.
I don't even get anxious.
Okay.
I'm more, my mind is focused on anybody that's injured. Am I injured? Are the cars okay? Is everybody okay? Let's let's get this situation figured out. I've been in a couple of accidents. I would say three or four since the panic disorder, and I never had an issue with that in any of them, which is weird because I don't know if there are a few things that are more stressful than that, but it just, that's not, I guess everybody has their own triggers.
Well, that's what I was just going to ask. Can you think of something that would be a trigger?
Being trapped.
Okay.
But even today, there's times where I could get stuck on the highway because there's an accident up the road or there's construction. So now, but if I know what it is and the traffic is somewhat moving, or at least I know what it is, and I don't freak out.
Okay.
If I don't know that's my worst thing, is like, I guess I have a problem of whether either I know too much of what, like something I have to do and I know what it's going to take to get it done, and that'll freak me out, or I don't know anything at all and I just let my mind go off on what could possibly go wrong and go down that road. Um, if an elevator ever stopped, I feel sorry for anybody that's in the elevator with me, because I will probably try to find the hatch to climb out and climb up wherever. I will do whatever I have to get out of wherever I am. Like I said, I've turned around. I was in Wilmington, turned a car around right in the middle of 95 because it just dead stopped. And I drove back a quarter of a mile into oncoming traffic to go down an exit where cars are coming up, and I'm weaving in and out of them into an area that I had no idea what part of Wilmington it was at that point. And we didn't have GPS or anything like that, so You broke out the old paper map and figured out where you were at the intersection and turned around to get home.
Disclosure, don't try that on a regular basis.
It's happened. Back then, it happened a lot because, and then what would happen is every time it happened, I wouldn't go do that again. So when that happened, I didn't go on the highway anymore for years. So you imagine trying to deliver lost luggage for the airport, and you've got to go to Newark, or you got to go to Bear, Delaware, and you're not going to use 95 or 495. It's going to take you about 3 hours to get there, but I would rather take that extra time. This is going to take 10 minutes. This is going to take an hour and a half, but I'm not going to get stuck. I'm going to take the hour and a half.
And again, that's something that you don't have control over.
Well, that was kind of learned behavior because as it happened, okay, I'm not doing that anymore. And then, okay, I never got stuck on a bridge, but when I got stuck on the highway, I went, well, if I got stuck on a bridge, I can't turn around. So I'm not going to Jersey anymore. So Jersey's out. I'm not going there. Then that was it. I'm not going over the double-decker bridge. I'm not going over the Platte Bridge. I'm going over Passyunk or Penrose.
So we just went to Atlantic City not long ago. And I know one of your triggers is planning stuff out in advance. That kind of gets you riled up. And I'm not saying riled up, but you know what I mean.
No,
not riled up.
It's not. It's planning stuff ahead for me is more the. It gives me too much time to think about it, which then starts the what if thinking, which then starts to manifest itself physically, which then now I'm not going. So when it's better for just sitting around and I feel good, let's go try something.
Okay, but I'm going to take the other approach. Christmas is how many months away?
3.
And what have you been doing since August?
Shopping. Planning for your birthday, our anniversary, and Christmas.
So.
But we're not going anywhere.
That I get. But you still have in the back of your head, I'm doing all this. Let's hope nothing goes wrong when it comes. Or let's hope I feel 100%.
That is completely different because you're totally different. That even if on Christmas I couldn't make it, you wouldn't hold it against me. You wouldn't be mad. You would be upset as far as we can't spend the time together, but you wouldn't be mad at me for not being able to get here.
Right. I think I'd be more upset because I know how much it means to you.
Right. So I don't, that takes all that pressure off. So knowing that I don't have to be there makes it so I can be there. When somebody immediately tells me you have to do this, I'm immediately not going to do that. I don't care if you're the law, a doctor, an operation, well, you have to have it. One operation. There's other ones that need to be taken care of that I haven't gotten done because I'm.
But you can. So that just goes to show you can get through it with the assistance of stuff.
You're referring to the emergency appendectomy, which I was already in the hospital, didn't know that there was anything wrong.
Correct.
You had me go to get a scan done just to be sure because we had already did all the tests. There was no reason that I had appendicitis.
Well, a normal person wouldn't have.
There was no fever. There was no pain. There was nothing. I had a little bit of trouble breathing, which I just assumed I was out of shape at the time. I was 47 then. When they came in and told me I need emergency surgery right away, I freaked out. I panicked. I tried to leave the hospital.
You did.
Somebody was standing in front of the exit and wouldn't let me leave, but I tried. If you hadn't been there, I would have left, and I probably would have went home and died.
But So knowing with aid, whether it's medication or what, but
Yeah.
I think a big part of it, and I think a big part of the stigma is, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, I think a big part of the stigma is people don't understand the severity of panic disorder.
No, it's crippling, it's debilitating, and it'll ruin your life. I mean, it causes severe depression. It causes you to miss out on a lot of stuff that everybody else is doing. And especially, I can imagine then you didn't see what everybody else was doing because there wasn't the internet, there wasn't social media. You knew of, oh, so and so went to Florida, or so and so went to, I don't know, Boston or whatever, or they went down the shore. But it wasn't in your face. I can't imagine somebody developing or, having panic disorder now as a young person and seeing everybody doing, their friends and family are out to dinner and out to this, and you're sitting in your bedroom with the curtains drawn, and you have to have a TV or a phone, or my thing was always putting movies on, and I couldn't tell you, there's a certain amount of movies that I've watched thousands of times. Like, people don't believe me, but it's like there's certain movies that I've literally been watching since '93, and I still watch them to this day. Where there were times where I could be 2 years of putting them on before I go to sleep and watching half of it and then falling asleep. But to watch people, there's guilt involved. I couldn't take my daughters to carnivals and theme parks and stuff like that. Vacations, I couldn't do it. Even food shopping was, I would drop them and their mother off. I would go home. They would call me when they were done. I would go back and pick them up.
I think I agree with you. Yes, now with social media it might be a lot more difficult, but I also think now with mental health being so, I don't want to say prevalent, but it's so much more discussed. It's so much more.
It's less
This,
scrutinized
yes,
than it was back in the day.
and they're diagnosing it much
If
younger.
if you told somebody you had a mental illness in '93, they wanted to lock you up somewhere, or that's what you thought.
That's what you thought, right? They stopped
Or
locking you up before that, but
people looked at you differently, and you don't want to be looked at that way. I'm 55. I don't care anymore. I don't care who knows. I don't care what anybody thinks. I stopped giving a crap about that a long time ago. But in the beginning, it was hard. It was people walking away from you, and like, I didn't do it. It's not my fault. I didn't ask for this. But I can't imagine growing up only knowing social media, having a panic attack or having panic disorder. There are people that just have panic attacks, get through them, and are perfectly fine for other things. I live in a state of anxiety, whether it's very high or minimal. There's, the mind going all the time. There's a lot, most of the times when I can relax or here with you, if we're watching TV or we're playing a game, or we're watching one of our favorite shows or something like that, it's for the most part non-existent. Sometimes it's still there, and I may have an appointment the next day or something that has to be done, and that's going on in my head. Um, but to sit there and not be able to do anything, and I mean, I didn't go to restaurants, I didn't go to the movies, I didn't go to the arcade, I didn't go to malls, I didn't go food shopping. I didn't. So to sit now and watch your friends go into the city and have a dinner, or go to Penn's Landing or a parade, a sporting event, a concert, and you can't go, I can't imagine it because I didn't have to live that then,
Right.
and now I don't care.
So, with all the events that have happened in your life, good, bad, and different, what would you say was probably the most shocking that you were able to get through without the panic taking over?
Our wedding. I thought for sure before our wedding I was going to lose it.
Not sure if I should be offended by that or not.
No, it's just to most people that's, might be slightly stressful, but it wasn't at all. And I credit 100% that with you not making it a stressful situation, leaving it to here's what we're going to do or not. If we make it through this part, great. If we don't, we don't. It was very small. We didn't rent a venue. That could have been a completely different situation. I don't know. But I think I was more focused on letting you down and not disappointing you on your day, that I just didn't. Now I know, like the day after or 2 days after, I was having some issues, probably because everything had built up from August, September, October, November, because it was like a 4 month thing between everything else that was going on.
Right.
And we were kind of winging it as we went along. We kind of were out and picked a color. And then we got my clothes. You got your dress. We got my clothes to match, and then you had gotten your cape, and then your sister-in-law made the bouquet, and she married it. All that stuff just kind of fell in place. It wasn't an aggravation or any kind of headache. Everything went really smooth, surprisingly. And from my daughter picking me up, going, getting through, I thought for sure I would probably pass out during my vows, but I'll tell you what scared me was how calm I was, is what made me nervous, if that makes sense, because I'm never that calm.
I understand that.
Like I've been doing art since I was like 8. I still get nervous airbrushing a shirt, drawing a painting. It could be something that I'm doing for myself, and I get myself worked up. Playing guitar, that I don't care how bad I am at it, and I'm horrible. But I'll start to sweat. I'll get nervous just sitting there in my house by myself. Nobody can hear me, and like that. So to be able to get through speaking in front of, it was 10 people total, but to be able to speak how I actually feel about you and have felt about you my whole life in front of your father, your son, your brother, sister-in-law, my daughter, her husband, you in a public setting, that's a pretty big deal for me to be able to get through unmedicated. And trust me, the medication was there, and it was like, maybe I should take 5 or 6. It was just like.
Right. I honestly think one of the times that you got through it, one of the things that you got through very well, which I was kind of concerned about, was with your mom.
Yeah, I don't know. That was another one that was weird, that that I constantly sat and like, how am I not freaking out? Because my mom, as far as family went, had always been there.
She was your rock.
Forever. Even my daughters, who have kind of come and go with whatever they're doing in life. Friends, and I don't really stay in touch with extended family. I have one cousin that I talk to a few times a year, maybe see him once a year or whatever. I don't talk to anybody else really, for good reason. Um, but that was, I mean, she was 77, 78 at the time of her death, so it wasn't like I knew she was going to live forever. But
But
I
she wasn't
didn't, I
sick.
didn't think, yeah, she didn't have anything that would have just caused that. So to get that phone call and have to make that decision, I was upset and sad, but I wasn't nervous or anxious.
You were completely in. You were in control of the loss situation, I guess is the best way we can put it.
I felt like the way I was acting was like how a normal person, and I hate to use that word normal, but I'm not normal.
You're normal for you.
But compared to the average person, whatever they are, I don't I don't look at other people and go, "Oh yeah, I'm the same as them." No, I'm not. I'm something else. So, but again, I credit you with most of that because we drove around that whole night. The next morning, when I had to make the decision to take her off life support, go to the funeral home. I think everything happened so fast, I didn't have any time to worry about it. Like it was just one thing after the other. Go to the funeral home, set up a private viewing, have her transferred.
Yeah, I just
All of that was done within a week.
you handled it though very. I don't want to say appropriately. As I guess is what I can say. You didn't shut down and just let everything fall apart. And I'll be honest with you, most people, whatever you would have done, I would have just been like, okay, just you have to process it the way you have to process it. Most people feel like in stressful situations, and that was an extremely stressful situation because it came out of the blue, you handled it very well. So, from an outsider looking in, the stressful situations where you should lose control, not be able to handle it, you're very well at dealing with them.
I can deal with crisis
That's
situations,
what I mean, yeah.
whether it's I don't know how much I go into as far as being in situations where guns are involved.
We could
I've
just leave it
been,
there.
well, I mean, in the past, during the panic disorder, I've been in areas where there's been shots fired at me or in the area of, you know, a few times working over the past year or two, I've had attempts of robbery or my car being stolen. I don't freak out. I don't I don't panic. I don't even get nervous. I think those kinds of situations make me hyper focus on staying alive and protecting anyone around me that I don't lose control. Which to me makes no sense whatsoever because if I have to go to the dentist tomorrow, I'll be up all night thinking about it, worrying about something that one isn't causing me any pain, isn't going to kill me, and the result is going to be positive. But I may not even make it there. But you put me in a situation where I have to protect someone or I have to deal with somebody who's injured in a car accident and I'm perfectly fine.
And I,
And it's not even like later I lose it. I don't. I just go on. It doesn't phase me. I don't know if I've been subjected to so much injuries and death and horrific stuff from outside, not in my family, but outside, that I'm just completely desensitized to it and it doesn't phase me. Now, my mom's death is I only have had to dealt with legitimately two family deaths that were close, and that was my niece. She was 15 months, and that was in '89.
But that still haunts you today.
Yeah, that image and everything. I was close with her. I know everybody's going to think it's nuts. How close can you get at 15 months? But
And you can get very
I was
close.
very close. And you go from '89 to 2022, and there's no loss. Yeah, my dad died in 2016. I wouldn't have known if somebody hadn't have called me. And I didn't care. I couldn't have cared less. Didn't affect me in any way. I just went, oh, okay, and went about whatever I was doing.
I think I've seen you. We've been in situations where out working at night, and the situation that happened in Wallingford, where you were very calm.
Oh, when the idiots almost hit us and decided to start screwing around with
Yeah.
me.
Where my heart rate went through the roof, and because I don't have that fight or flight, where you do. You.
Again, and then my thing there was, okay, so they almost hit us and then decided to turn their lights off and follow us around. Which I just go, okay, idiots. You're three little mop heads from like media. You're driving mommy's car.
Was it a Caddy or Mercedes?
Somebody's
Yeah.
Mercedes Benz or whatever it was. We all know it's not yours. And, I went to the house, delivered the food, came back out, and here they come again. That was an instance where I had to draw my weapon because they decided to come at the car with their headlights off. If anybody knows that situation, you turn your headlights off and start to drive at somebody, you're about to start something. Normally shooting. My concern was for you. When you're with me, my concern is not me at all. If I have to stand between you and a bullet, whatever, that's what it's going to take. I don't worry about that. I don't worry about dying. I don't worry about getting shot. I don't worry about getting injured or any of that stuff. If that happens, it happens. There's nothing you're going to do to change it. But
I think that's where people get confused.
my focus was on your safety. I think we were driving your car at the time.
Yeah.
So making sure your car doesn't get damaged, you don't get hurt, you're safe. And I stood in front of the car and drew my gun, and they almost drove off into somebody's property.
But I think what you just said.
And then when we pulled around and stopped, they came around the corner, freaked out again. They drove up they hit some piece of concrete, ruined Daddy's car, and drove away. And that was the last we saw of them.
But you just said a mouthful. You're not afraid of dying. But a panic attack is the feeling that death is going to happen right there. So I think that's why people kind of get confused, because me not understanding it would be like, well, if you're not afraid of dying, then why have the panic attack?
I guess I have to word it slightly different.
No, but
as I'm not afraid of being dead. The fear of dying is worse than death itself.
Okay.
So thinking you're going to die is way worse than actually dying, because you don't know now, you're dead. But knowing it's coming or feeling like it's coming is a different story.
Where you have no control over it.
But then again, I say, well, I've been in situations where I felt like this is going to go sideways really quick. I still don't panic or worry about that because I'm focused on what I need to do to stay alive or to protect anybody around me. And that's not just you. That means if I'm in a store, anywhere, if I have to protect somebody, if I don't know them, whatever, I'm still going to do what I have to protect them.
So a lot of it has to do with your chemical imbalance too, because statistics say, we'll say 9 out of 10 mental health issues come with a chemical imbalance. So, considering I don't have any mental health issues that are diagnosed, thank you very much. But I understand the medical part of it. I understand the medical component, and I understand that part.
And I just understand my symptoms and what it does to me. I don't, do I know about the chemical imbalance and medications that try to regulate that to keep you from going too high or too low? And,
So there was a point in time that you went to the gym on a regular basis.
Mhm.
When you were going to the gym, did you feel better?
Yeah.
Were the panic attacks less? Or not, I shouldn't say less, were they, you could have had them as often, but were they less crippling, less, where you were able to work through them because of...
It's kind of hard to say because I was at a different time. I started going back to the gym. I had worked out. Not that you can tell, but before I was sick, I have 6'2", 190 pounds. After I got sick, 6'2", 142 pounds. So I had lost almost 50 pounds in a span of 6 months. I still only gotten back. I think I'm like 175, 180, and I think that's just age related weight. It's not. It's not like I bulked up and put on any mass. But I had tried over the years working out at home and doing stuff, and then when I started going to the gym, yeah, I started to get a little bigger in my upper body, like everybody does. You just skip leg day, and my cardio and everything was great. But again, that was 2015, 2016. So it wasn't near as severe as it was
when it first
prior to
started.
that. I wouldn't even have thought of going to a gym in the 90s or the 2000s because I wouldn't have wanted to been around the people. Or I'd have been like, well, I can only lift this much. Now I don't care. If I pick up a 10-pound dumbbell to do something, that's what I can do. Um,
Plus, you were able to go overnight when there wasn't a lot of people there.
yeah, and I would make it so I'm not going to be there at 6 in the morning when everybody's got their Starbucks and using the Stairmasters, and I'm not going at night when all the muscle heads are there. I would go in at midnight until like 3 or 4 in the morning. I was eating better. Um, a lot less junk, a lot more protein. Um, I would definitely recommend exercise to anybody that's dealing with any kind of depression, stress, anxiety. It definitely, it you're going to feel better physically. You're going to feel better mentally. You'll just have more energy. You'll actually sleep better at night, as weird as that sounds.
So if you could give, so my students are all going into the medical field. If you could give them one piece of advice as you being a patient to them caring for patients that may suffer with this, what would it be?
Ooh, just listen without looking at the person and judging them. A lot of times I would get looked at with the tattoos, and at the times I had pretty big gauged earrings, and for some reason a lot of people thought I'd just gotten out of jail. I've never been arrested in my life, but I can't tell you how many times people thought they either knew me from prison or just figured I had just gotten out. But just don't look at somebody and assume you know what they're going through or where they've been or what they're doing or if they're full of crap or not. Just listen and
What is your take on mental health awareness now?
you want my honest opinion?
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's way overblown. I think it's being overdiagnosed. I think it's become a fad. I think it's a lot like the days of ADHD when suddenly every child had it and they were prescribing Ritalin or Ativan to like, or not Ativan,
Adderall.
Adderall to every kid, because once something,
Do you think it's a fad, or do you think that they just label everything way too much?
probably both. I think some people, when, especially when somebody famous comes out, what do young people want to be?
They're their idols, yeah.
Same thing I wanted to be. I wanted to be a rock star. I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be famous, an actor. I always expected that, when I hit 40 and figured out that I'm not going to be an actor.
It took you to hit 40 to realize that?
Yeah. It was like I turned 41 and I went, I don't think I'm ever going to be a rock star or famous. And I don't know. All right, well.
a little on the slow side there, huh?
Yeah. Took 40 years to realize it. But when somebody sees people coming out, does it help the people that were hiding it then talk about it? Yes. Does it also bring in a culture of people that don't have it and they want to identify with it? Like, hey, I've got social anxiety. Hey, and they don't. Unfortunately, it's like a lot of other demographics and ideologies where people think it's cool at that time and will go with it. And it's what that does is that hurts the people that actually are suffering with it and dealing with it. Because if you have it, you have depression, you have panic disorder, you have some kind of anxiety, you're suffering. I don't care what anybody says. You may suffer in silence, but you're suffering. It can be like any other illness. It's debilitating.
Well, that was the next thing I was going to ask you.
But as far as what do I think about, yeah, I think it's a lot more open, so people are more able to talk about it. There's that part of it. But I also think it's being overdiagnosed, because I can't get in for therapy anywhere. I've been trying for 5 years.
The waiting list, right? Yeah. So
5 years and I can't talk to anybody, and it's ridiculous. And that started during COVID, which I understand. Again, I'm going to blame a lot of that on Instagram and TikTok and Snapchat, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. Everybody's just inundated with misinformation, conspiracy theories, and just who knows what's real and what's not anymore.
And I think COVID caused a lot of people to, and you've even said it yourself, COVID got you into I don't want to say a rut, but you got so comfortable.
COVID literally changed. Like, I changed in 93, I changed again in 2020. Not 2020, I'll say 2021, because in the beginning, we were out the weekend that everything shut down. We were out at restaurants laughing at people. We were sitting there at Target, like the day before things shut down, having a conversation face to face with people. And then when everything shut down, it was like, okay, like, we're going to binge watch a bunch of Netflix series, and that's what we did. Went out to parks outside and did all that stuff. Didn't affect us a whole lot in the beginning. We were still going out and doing things where everybody else had locked down, and we know family that just hid behind the doors and didn't look out the window. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Like, I did that for 20 some years. Like, I'm not doing that anymore. Sorry. I'm going to do my thing. I don't care if, oh well. It wasn't until like 21 when the whole, this isn't ending. This is just going to keep on going forever. This is like, seriously? And from going from not working for a year and a half at that point, because I wasn't going to plastic up my car and turn it into like a, Uber driver in a bubble. I wasn't doing it. It wasn't until Labor Day of 21 that I started doing like the DoorDash and the Uber Eats. And you barely have to come in contact with anybody at that point. But there was a period of that time where then I started getting like turning into like germaphobe real bad. Like, get everybody away from me. I don't want to. And then I don't get COVID until 2024, and I wasn't even around anybody. And now I'm at the point where I'm like, yeah, I know enough from researching COVID and all that who cares? It's like the flu and everything else. But it messed up my sleep. It messed up a lot of stuff.
And I think that's when people started saying, and being isolated, people that were they went to work 40 to 50 hours a week and they were around all these people, now to being isolated, especially if you lived by yourself or something like that.
But for me, that was like...
That was your heaven.
I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have to be around people. Me and you came down here. We built this cuddle cave and would just come down here and just spend all day and night watching movies. We'd go drive around, doing whatever. And for me, I was like, yeah, this is great. But I don't care. I'm watching everybody else lose their minds, and I'm like, well, now you kind of know where I've been for the past 25 years.
And I think that's why mental health has become more widespread since then. I do think
I think COVID blew the top off of it.
Yeah.
I think it was coming anyway with social media because there was more people. Now, 95% of social media is completely useless in my eyes. Because most of it is just, oh, I'm Dr. So, you have no degrees, you don't know what you're talking about, please shut up. It's given everybody a voice to talk about anything they want, and people don't even bother to check up to see if they have any experience or credentials. So a lot of it's just bad, but there are some things that come out that mental health, that people talk about it. I mean, I guess I could start a channel talking about panic disorder and agoraphobia and depression and the past 55 years of my life dealing with it, but I don't have that kind of drive. But so there are people that have done that, and it makes other people
not feel alone
and feel more confident in discussing it. Yeah, you know what? You bring it up to certain people, you're going to lose friends and family. But guess what? If they walk away, they weren't all that great to begin with.
And you may gain a better support system.
Wave them goodbye as they leave.
But there are cases where you may get a better support system as well.
Yeah. I mean, there's, like I said, I had family and friends that just showed their true colors, and I just, sorry, you got to go. I'm not going to deal with you. And to this day, the only person I hang out with is you. My friend still has his pizza shop. Stop in maybe twice a year. Hey, what's up? What's going on? Besides that, and normally my daughters, I'm cool with the way things are. I don't feel like I'm missing anything at this point. My life's pretty full. So, but yeah, I wouldn't want to be 20-something or a teenager growing up right now. I mean, I feel bad for anybody that's growing up post, not having the internet or social media. I think a lot of it is bad. I've noticed incident of somebody who was assassinated recently. I just noticed that the more I got into that, the more anxiety it caused, the more anger it caused, the more... So I noticed that now, but I'm also 55, so I'm more self-aware than I used to be. And I just cut all that out, and now it's gone. Like, yeah, I know there's stuff happening in the world, but if I don't sit there and focus on it and engage in the stuff that's going on in social media, it won't have an adverse effect on me.
Well, that was another question I was going to ask before we wrap this up. Are there things people should avoid so their mental health doesn't suffer?
I mean, the stuff that you should know, but maybe as young people you don't. Caffeine. And I know this sounds weird, but caffeine, cigarettes, drugs, alcohol, all has an effect on your mental status. I never smoked cigarettes, but I know alcohol, you know, it changes my mental status. Even medications, uh, there are some good ones, but you don't want to be taking stuff off of Snapchat or over the counter stuff or stuff that's being pushed online that you have no idea what it's going to do. You're eating healthy definitely has a positive effect. Um, Again, social media. Um, what was your exact? I'm sorry, I just went off the rails there. That's how quickly I can go off the track.
If there were certain things that people should avoid.
Avoid. I mean, I'd avoid taking medical advice from anybody online unless you can research it back to its source. Like if it's actually coming from the Mayo Clinic or it's coming from a most legitimate psychologist, psychiatrist, neuroscientist don't have Snapchat or an Instagram channel.
No, some of them may have books that are published or something
Right.
like that.
But most of them aren't sitting there making content every day. They have their regular job that they need to do, or they're doing research. So I would avoid getting your information from for the most part, social media. If you want to look up Googling, don't look at the AI stuff. Actually go on to .edu, .gov, those kinds of sites that are verified and it's legitimate information. And you don't have to trust that either, but at least compare them and see what similarities and look at what other people have talked about and what works for them and try to go down the road of diet, physical fitness, whether it's yoga, meditation, reading. And I mean, I know this is going to sound weird to a lot of you, but actual books, like get an actual book out, put the laptop or whatever away, grab your Kindle, I guess, same thing, and actually read. You can get into a book. It doesn't even have to be a medical book, it could be any kind of book, and just get into stuff like that. It does relieve stress. Avoid situations that are dangerous to your health. Don't avoid things like the carnival or traveling or whatever. Try to get through those. Things that are going to cause stress and drama, avoid them. And that can be even TV shows. And there's a lot of trash TV with over the top situations that don't exist in real life. TV shows that you couldn't possibly live that way all the time. The drama and the constant tension and stress. Because I've noticed, I don't watch those shows, but a couple times that I've seen stuff, I get up from the episode pissed off or like wanting to slap somebody because it was so stupid or it just aggravated me and I'm now in a bad mood. And, watching a great movie puts me in a good mood, or watching a cool show or whatever. If you watch anything, it doesn't matter what it is, you're going to feel a different way afterwards. We watch Sons of Anarchy, a motorcycle show. I feel like getting on a bike and putting on a leather jacket.
Okay, but there's also parts of that show where they kill people. Do you feel like going out and killing someone?
Not from that, no.
But I mean, you have to be able to differentiate.
No, but it gives you
right.
it gives you that. I watch Vikings too. I don't feel like picking up a battle axe and running out into the wild.
But that's what I'm saying. You have to be able to differentiate between the two.
Yeah, but it does give you a sense of like, oh, you get that weird feeling about a series, Sopranos. Suddenly, I want to start speaking Italian,
Hey now.
and I want to go to go get some gabagool, whatever. It's just whatever you're watching is going to
You don't
affect
even
you.
eat gabagool, but go ahead.
Whatever. I don't even know what it is.
It's a lunch meat.
Oh. Well, there you go. But whatever you're surrounding yourself with is going to affect you. If you surround yourself with stress and drama, that's how you're going to act. That's how you're going to be. If you surround yourself with calm and, fun, then that's how you're going to be. If you stress yourself out in the morning, guess how you're going to be all day? You're going to be, most people are going to think you're a jerk because that's how you're acting because you just left your house all pissed off.
So with the modern times and the people that are enlightened with the mental awareness, social media, and all that, one of the things that we instill in our students is, like you said, treat without judgment. Listen. And it's difficult in certain situations. And I'll be the first, and I've been in this field a very long time.
I still do it to people. I see people that are heavily tattooed, and I'm like, when did they get out of jail? I do it myself. Or I see somebody heavily tattooed cooking food, and I'm like, they're tattooed from their hands to their face, and I'm like, I don't want that dude making my food. And it doesn't make any sense because I'm standing there with them.
So one of the things that, we say is, and I've had situations where, since we've been together, I would say there was only 2-3 times I've seen you go into a full-fledged panic attack. And I can honestly say you got through them, 2 medicated and 1 not. But
most of the time we're leaving wherever we were.
No, we weren't. No. Well, the one time we did leave and went back, but my whole thing is it gave me a different perspective of actually seeing a loved one going through it and how they were being treated. I'll go back to the hospital. The doctor there was a blooming idiot.
You're talking about the surgery?
Yes, when she was like, you need emergency surgery. Knowing that somebody has panic attack, that is not something you should say to them.
Oh, I still remember when I freaked out, some of the looks on their faces, some of the staff and the doctor looked at me like, what is his problem?
But the nurse was amazing. When I said, can he have something now? She came right in, got the IV in, and gave you the Ativan.
Yeah.
She was amazing.
The initial staff that came running into the room, a couple of them were like, what's his problem? Like, they had that look on their face like, what's the big deal?
And then when McGarrigle came,
I don't remember a whole lot after getting the Ativan. Your story of how it happened and what I remember are 2 totally different things.
Well, you don't even remember going to the room. You went right up to the OR as far as you were concerned.
They could have sewn my head to the carpet and I wouldn't have cared.
But that showed me, and I've always, from the time I was an MA to a nurse and everything, we were always told not to judge. And seeing the way they were with you, even when you had the test on the endoscopy, they
were all great. I don't remember them being...
The one had an issue when she was like, well, we just can't take him now the way he's acting.
I remember one sitting on the edge of the bed and trying to...
She was amazing.
Talk with me and everything.
The other one...
And telling me, if you can't do it, we won't do it.
And then when we brought you back, her first words were, how'd you get him to come back? I didn't. We just talked. And so patience. I think the word is patience. You need to be patient with people that are going through this.
Yeah, I've had, before we reconnected and got together, I had been through 3 or 4 other relationships. For a lot of reasons. 1, I wasn't meant to be with them. And 2, my panic disorder disrupted their lives. It bothered them. They couldn't deal with it. They didn't want to deal with it. So once I recognized that, time to move on.
Yeah, I mean,
When
if
we
you were diabetic, would it have been different?
maybe if it affected their lives and they couldn't do certain things, or they had to do it by themselves. But when we had reconnected, we had both been right up front from day one, like, this is what I'm going through. You okay with that? Can you deal with that? And we both went, yep, I'm good with that. And there hasn't been an issue with, there's been Thanksgivings that I haven't made it over. There's been Easters that I haven't made it over. There's been Christmases where I made it over late. I think there might have even been a Christmas Eve that I didn't make it.
Mm-mm.
So, I mean, there's been things that were planned that we were going to go to dinner, can't do it. Your response is, all right, we'll figure out something here. And it went from an Italian restaurant to grilled cheese and soup, and nobody cared. So when that pressure of having to be somebody that you're not, or to do stuff that you don't want to do or can't, when that pressure's not there, it makes life a lot easier.
And I think that's what people in the medical field, and if my students can take one thing out of this, and like I told my students, the one reason why I wanted to do this is I can talk to them about, what panic disorder is or what this mental health condition is. You live it every day. I live with you every day, but I am not going through the physical and the emotional part of it.
It still affects you.
But
It still impacts your life, whether you'll admit it or not. It's still, you used to travel a lot more. I know you did. Do you have pictures of being up in New Hope and
yeah,
up the mountains in Tennessee and Florida, and we haven't gotten close to any of those. The closest we've gotten is Lancaster twice at 2 o'clock in the morning when nothing's open, and Atlantic City at night 2 or 3 times.
yeah.
That's about. I mean, we've been in the city to a lot of museums. We've been out to.
But I've done a lot of stuff with you that I've never done before. A lot of the museums and I guess this is where might be a little different than most people. A relationship is about compromise. Good, better, and different. You compromise. If you care about somebody, then you're going to find a way to make it work with the two of you. Now, I've gone down the shore without you.
And I've always told you, if there's anything you want to do, go do it. If I can go with you, I will. If I can't, go have a good time. Whether it's with your family, your friends, I've never once, I get it. It sucks. I would love to. I would love to be able to lay on the beach. It's not my thing, but even just being down the shore, it's nice. It's relaxing. It's salt water. I hate the boardwalks and all, but the beach, I would love to go up the mountains and hike, and I would love to go up in the winter. I'm not skiing or anything because I'll end up in a hospital, but
yeah, I mean,
I want to travel up into New England and Vermont in the fall. There's a lot of places that I would like to go see with you. Whether that's ever going to happen, I don't know, but I know if it doesn't, you're not going to leave. The relationship's not going to end because of it. So that's what makes it. Some people say, well, you gotta kind of nudge them. You do, to a degree. We'll be like, hey, how about we go here? Now, most people might not think that going to Booth Corners or Linville at 10 o'clock in the morning is that big of a deal. But for me, it's like, well, am I gonna have to, well, let's head out that way, and if it works out, it works out. 9 times out of 10, we end up out there. We have lunch, we walk around, do some shopping, and we have a good time. The amount of times that things don't work out now are a lot less than before.
oh yeah.
Again, I don't have the pressure or in the back of my mind that if I start to feel bad, too bad, you're just going to have to suck it. Now, a lot of people, again, will suck it up. if you can suck it up and get through it, then do it. But it's no fun because I didn't enjoy anything that I was doing, because all I was doing was in my head, like, is this almost over? Is this almost over? Is this almost over? Is this almost, like a little kid? Can we go home now? Can we go home now? Can we go home now? Like, that's just in my head. Like, all right, how much more do we, like, I'm not focusing on anything that we're doing. I'm focusing on, I just want to be anywhere but here right now.
Right.
But I know that, we want to go to John Tyler Arboretum before it gets too cold. So we'll do that one day. And I know that if we're heading out and I don't feel good, we turn around and either find something else to do or go home.
Right.
We'll go do it another day. It's not going anywhere. So, and we had even talked about doing some other things that have now, kind of gotten put on the back burner, as far as taking weekend trips or day trips. And that's all due to me right now with the agoraphobia has kind of crept back in over the past few months. Actually, the past 9 months have been, since February, have been kind of a lot of things going wrong, and with car and the house and all that health and that crap. So I'm trying to get myself to not slip back into that being comfortable of just sitting in my room doing absolutely nothing. And then when I have to go somewhere, it's like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to wake up, like tonight, last night, whatever. Just wake up. Just immediately get up. Don't lay there at all. Like, I usually lay there for an hour and, like, collect my bearings or see if I'm going to freak out, whatever. And I just get up, wash my face, brush my teeth, grab something to eat, leave. Get here, we shopping or grab something else to eat or make something to eat, watch TV, whatever. I just need to keep doing that so I don't get myself back into that, because it's real easy to fall back into that agoraphobic state, which they're kind of separate. The panic disorder brings on the agoraphobia, and then the agoraphobia brings on depression. So if I can stop from going to one, I can stop the other one.
Makes sense.
Plus, I've been totally preoccupied with the litigation as far as my mom's estate. Your birthday was a big deal. Our anniversary is a big deal. Christmas is a big deal. Thanksgiving, sorry to anybody that celebrates it, I could care less.
Except you do enjoy the turkey.
Yeah, I mean, turkey, mashed potatoes, and cranberry sauce, and that's my Thanksgiving. I don't sit there watching football. I don't care about anything. Like, it's not something I celebrate. Halloween's fine. Throw the stuff up there. I'll airbrush a shirt that offends somebody and hand out candy. For the most part, the kids are cool. And
I think we get a kick out of the kids more than anything.
yeah, as long as you don't get the older ones or the 30-year-olds that decide to dress up and come out and try to get free candy. But for the most part, it's fine. But Christmas, that's my time of year. Like November 1st, I want all the Halloween stuff going, and I want Christmas decorated everywhere. I want to start driving around, seeing the lights. And the unfortunate part with me, with my mental status or whatever you want to call it, is once Christmas is over, I hate it. Like, that seasonal depression is a real thing.
It is.
Like January and February, I cannot stand those 2 months. The only thing that helps with February is Valentine's Day, because this goes from a Christmas village into a love shack. I don't know what. I don't know what you call it. You know, it goes from the red, white, and green and stuff everywhere to pink, red, and white hearts, and you know, and that's a major thing that helps me too. Is we'll like upstairs is decorated for Halloween, and then come November, that stuff gets taken down, and we start bringing dozens and dozens of totes from the storage area and from down here and everywhere, making numerous trips back and forth. It's just part of the process now, and I enjoy it. Like, I'll get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, head over there with the truck at 6 o'clock in the morning and load it up with totes, bring them over here, decorate. I'll put out the outside stuff or whatever I can do until you're here, because you have to control everything. As far as decorating, which I don't mind, that's fine. But yeah, it's just not having the stress of somebody wanting you to do something that you can't. Like, if I can tell them anything, like if you have people in your life that are stressing you out to do things that either one, you don't want to do or can't, you either need to tell them to shut up, go away, or just cut them out of your life. And I know a lot of people, and it wasn't easy for me to eventually it was easy for me to cut my father out of my life. It was hard to get to that point. Because when you're 9, you want your dad in your life. But by the time I was 13 or 14, I had had enough, and I was done with him. So you need to get those kinds of people out of your life, because all it's going to do is prolong, and you'll get to my age and go, oh, I should have gotten rid of this idiot a long time ago. And I don't care if that's a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, parent, sibling, friend, best friend. They're going to make you feel a certain way about it. Again, it's everybody's individual choice, but for me, best thing I could do is just see ya.
I think that.
And I would just feel a calming sensation and like a relief that was done with, and I didn't have to deal with it anymore. And I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but when we got together, within 6 months or so, that's how I felt. I felt like, oh, this is how a relationship is supposed to be, as opposed to the last, from 1989 until 2016, which is 27 years. Like, oh, this is how a relationship is supposed to be. This feels like I can be my idiot self. I don't have to hide anything. I don't have to cover up my anxiety. I don't have to cover up that I'm not feeling good. I don't have to be embarrassed that I need to go home, or we need to come. There's been times where can we come back here for a little while? And then we would go back out. I know that those options are there, so that makes everything so much easier. It makes me able to do more knowing that I don't have to do it.
But I think since we've been together, well, you didn't go to Madison's graduation because of the time it was, but you went to Justin's graduation with me.
I didn't go to any graduation.
Because the graduation party.
The parties, yeah.
I mean, we've gone to things.
And the only reason I didn't go to the graduation was there wasn't enough tickets at that time.
I didn't go to any of their graduations.
Yeah, they only have so many tickets.
But I mean,
like, I could handle an outdoor graduation, like at a high school. I could handle that, because I'll just park 6 blocks away. So once it's over, I'll just walk, and I don't have to deal with the traffic. The ones upcoming that are at Citizens Bank Park and Westchester, those ones. No.
Well,
I would love to.
So
It would be
Citizens
awesome.
Bank Park, I have to go. It doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, it would
That's
be
my.
it would be awesome if I could go to Jordan and Madison's graduations, but and I hope they understand. It's
Yeah,
just
well, Jordan definitely will because he's in the field. But
I there's no way I'd be able to. I would be so far back with like binoculars to just try and see them that nobody would even know I was there.
and my next graduation will be virtual. So
And that bothers me to this day that I wasn't able to go to your Eastern graduation at the Mann Center. It's just the time of day, the venue in the city, and I was like, should I just kind of show up and I'm like,
no, I get it.
and it's those kind of things that bother me. It's not like I feel bad that I disappointed you or that your significant other, like, why isn't he here? Where's your significant other, now husband? Like, if you were to go, like, say, for your doctorate, you were going to travel down south to do the actual walk. Where's your husband? How come your husband's not in the pictures? Like, I know you understand, your dad understands, your son understands, your whatever, but like the people on Facebook or your actual friends are going to go, where was he? He didn't even go to your graduation. Like, that's how I think. Like, it's going to make you look bad because I didn't show up. I don't care how it makes me look. I could care less. But
I see
I
what you're
always,
saying.
I always, like, I worried about that was like, I'm letting you down by not being there. Like, I should have been there.
No,
So that'll bother me the rest of my life. Whether you, I know you say it's okay, and I don't sit here and dwell on it. But every now and then, when I see a graduation or something like that, I go, I should have been there. You know, you've had open houses or family days at work. I should have been there. A normal person would have been there. That's.
I didn't even want to be there.
But that's
No, I
that's
get
what
what you're
goes
saying.
through my mind is that's when I feel like I'm not normal because anybody can. What's the big deal? Why can't you do that? Everybody goes down the shore. Why can't you do that?
I do think if the situations were different and like you weren't having the problems with the car, I do think.
Oh, I tried to rent a car the last time you went down the shore.
Yeah.
To go with you, and I was so that way I didn't have to worry about it. I felt pretty good at that time, and I wasn't going to stay. I was going to drive down,
Chill
spend
all
a
night
few
and then-
hours.
yeah.
Like I can drive home at any hour because that's all I've done my whole life is drive, so it's not an issue. But like, yeah, your dad's birthday, and you go down. Like, I feel like I should be there,
Yeah, I mean,
and it's like and I don't want to say I've become numb to not doing things, but you kind of do have to get that thick skin about not putting too much on yourself about not being able to do it because then you're just going to put yourself into a depression and just your self-esteem is going to go through the floor because you're constantly ragging on yourself. And I always go to, she's okay with it, then I'm okay with it. If you're not okay with it, then there's a problem.
no, I don't think there's been anything that you weren't able to make that really bothered me.
I know one, and I don't know if it really bothered you, but I know it did bother you, was you had a office get together around Christmas, I want to say, when you were working for United Medical
Or holiday party.
down in Delaware.
Yeah.
And I actually had gotten dressed and got in a car and then turned around and came back, and I just couldn't get down there. And I know you had texted me a couple of times, like, are you coming? So I knew, you may not say it now, but I think that bothered you that I wasn't there. Because everybody else's, like, spouse was there or whatever. So, you know.
Well, no, because I went with, what was my receptionist's name?
Ukrainian trip?
Yeah. I want to say Lucy, but it wasn't Lucy. I can't remember her name. I drove down with her.
Right, but if I was going, me and you would have went.
Right. But I knew you weren't, if you were going to come, it would have been a little after it started and all that. I don't think that one really, I mean, it was more of...
I think you were just bummed that I
Yeah, I was
couldn't
bummed that
make
you
it.
couldn't make it. Yeah, I don't think any of them really... Because I understand the situation. But even on the reverse, if I'm not feeling good...
I'm the last person that's ever going to give anybody any crap for not being able to do something.
Yeah, so I mean... Now, you've mentioned quite a few times that... And my students say it all the time. They say I'm not human. Where I'll do like a typical day where I should just stay home, crash, and...
Yeah, I don't. I've seen you do things that I would not have gotten out of bed for 3 days. I'd have been curled up in a ball, you know,
I mean...
hugging one of my Build-A-Bears that you got me and, you know, watching The Notebook.
But so it's...
You push through a lot of stuff that I can't.
And I think that I'm going to credit my mom for that.
I mean,
and I was a single mom, so I had no choice.
Yeah, I mean, did I raise my kids alone? No, she was there, but I'm the one that took them everywhere. I'm the one that was involved in all their school stuff, the sports, when they were doing the church thing, enrolled in a community college course when they were in school for like art and, you know, the award stuff, coaching, reffing, setting up fields. You know, I was on the board at the swim club, home and school, you know, anything that involved them, I got involved with and became either a board member or something. All their schoolwork, all that stuff. But I can do that for them same way I can do a lot of stuff for you. But when it comes to doing things for myself, I don't push through it. Whereas
you've gotten better.
There's still some artwork and stuff that have been sitting on an easel for a year. That
yeah, I'm guessing I'm going to get it for Christmas. But I mean,
what's that?
I'm guessing I'm getting it for Christmas.
No.
That rose isn't going to be done for Christmas?
Oh, hell no.
Oh, great.
You'll be lucky if you get the Halloween painting.
Oh my God! It's already the 7th.
I got the underpaint. I got the first coat on the canvas. It's only been a month. That's the problem. It's, you know.
But that's not for you. It's for me.
And that's how I have to look at it. I got the projector over there, and
so
it'll be done before a Halloween.
I would like for it to be done before a Halloween that I'm no longer here.
But you push through situations that I would just be like, yeah, I'm not going to make it. We're built different. You're way stronger of a person than I am. You have a better work ethic, a better drive, goal-oriented, all of that. Mine is there going to be food in my house tomorrow? Like, is there enough cookies? Like, I don't even worry about thinking 6 months down the road anymore. I just, what's going to happen tomorrow? And a lot of that is, I can't think that way. If I think about, let me do this so in a year, this will benefit me. You know what that year will be? Me
Pure
sick,
hell.
stressing, miserable. I can't do it. Now, I know there's going to be people out there that go, that's a cop-out. He's taking the easy way out. He's making excuses. It might all be true, but that's just the way it is. I have to do things the way that I do things. I can't do things the way you do it. I can't do it the way some of your students may do things. Or, it's just I'm the way I am.
But I don't think there's been ever a time where I've asked you to do something, like not go somewhere, but do something for me that you haven't been able to do it.
Yeah, I either do it right then and there, or I will get it done.
Yeah. Aside from the painting or something like that, but if I asked you, hey, can you do XYZ for me, like tomorrow? It'll get done.
Well, and what I would say is for somebody like me with the ADD and the what if and all, if you want something done, just go, can you go do that right now? Because I'll gladly get up and go do it right now. Because if you ask me to do it tomorrow, a week later, you're going to be wondering why it's still sitting there because I'll totally forgotten about it. What am I supposed to do over there?
Nothing. How long did it take you to put that frame up?
Oh, no, that wasn't the frame that we had a problem with. It was the frame in your room. That took 3 years. I got you for a Christmas present.
Oh, the one that I put up. No, that's the love one. That was that one.
Was that the one I got you for a Christmas? It was like 3 years later.
Yeah.
Exactly. And what happened when I was here the other time? I said, "Do you want me to put this picture up?" And then I went around putting up like four pictures.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. So I mean, even with like the what of thinking, if I ask you to do something, you're very attentive. You're very.
When it comes to you, other people can go scratch. If it's you, your dad, or Andrew, or even your brother or your nephew, like them, I will get right on it. Like, hey, I need this done. Done. Even you, like you handed me that wood key thing. Sand that name off the bottom of it. That thing's been sitting in my house for months. At least, I don't know, 6 months.
No, it hasn't been that long. But.
And I keep walking by it going, oh yeah, I got to do that. Sooner or later, I'll bust a sander out and take 5 minutes because that's all it.
Right, but it's nothing.
But if you said, hey, I need that tomorrow, it would be here in the morning.
Yeah, I mean.
Like I would go home, get it done, and you'd have it tomorrow. Like how many times have you asked me or have brought it up? You don't ask. Be like, oh, I need to pick up an Eagles shirt. We're doing a pep rally tomorrow. Now, my first response is, gee, it would be nice if you knew somebody who made shirts. And then your response is always, well, I didn't want to, and we run to Walmart, get a shirt. I go home, make up a design. You go in with a shirt. If you were to say, hey, I'm going to need a shirt a month down the road, again, you'll get it the day before because I won't have remembered, and then I quickly bang it out, and here you go.
Yeah, but even...
I suck at long-term planning. I'm better off if you go, hey, I need this tomorrow. I'll go home and work through the night to get it done.
That could be the whole what if. What if I don't have this when I need it? What if I don't have that when I need it? What if something comes up in between then and there?
No, it's... And again, this is going to sound like an excuse, and it probably is. That's the artist part of me. That I need to have 6 or 7 things going on at one time. Like right now,
That's the ADHD.
Yeah, I've got canvases up being painted. I've got stuff on a drawing board. I've got a craft thing that I'm doing, and I've got the airbrush shirts.
What craft thing?
The fall door hanger.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like and so I can work on each one for like 5 minutes and then walk away, because if I work on them for long periods of time, I stop, hey, and walk away, and then I never come back to them.
So that's the ADHD.
But again, if you were to say I need a drawing of a sloth tomorrow, it would be here for you. Like, I got to take a picture of a sloth in the work for Sloth Anatomy Day. That picture would be, but you did it with the, you needed the outline of the body to do the Play-Doh intestines.
Mm-hmm.
I went home and did 5 of them or 6 or whatever it was. Here you go.
No, I get it.
I'm just not that long. The more I have to think about it, I'm going to overthink it, rethink it,
So,
throw it out 3 times, and end up with the same thing if I'd have just started it the day before.
and that comes into the ADHD. So, when you're dealing with that, that actually triggers panic as well because the ADHD is the constant what if, the overthinking.
It doesn't trigger panic, but it definitely stress and anxiety.
No, but I'm saying the what if thinking is a portion of not just the panic but the ADHD as well. They do go hand in hand.
Yeah. If I could get my mind to shut off, like I go like dream like crazy, constant. Like I'm thinking while I'm sleeping. I wake up and I got 2 or 3 different things that I'm. Right now, it's all about some dumb stuff, some medical stuff that I have to get taken care of, just routine crap, and anniversary and Christmas. So it's like, all right, well, I've got this many gifts I'd like to get. I need to find these 2. I need to hunt these down because they're not in stores anywhere. I need to find them somewhere.
What are they?
Various sites. I'm not telling you anything.
I'm just trying to take things off your plate that I would help you with. But
Well, here's one thing right here. Is a good thing that I stressed about was your birthday. Was getting everything. It turned into a Green Bay theme, which was not intended. I normally don't try to theme anything. I don't really try to do anything. I just peruse the internet and she'll love that. Or there will be some things that I have in my mind that I want to get. But like the flowers that I had sent.
Mm-hmm. Which are beautiful.
I had ordered those in the beginning of August. So it's 2 months that I worried about, are they going to get them there in time? Is the vase going to be broke? Or are they going to have water in them? Or are you going to have to assemble them yourself? We had one where I had them shipped here and you had to assemble it yourself.
Yeah, I remember that.
I called that place and I was pissed. So I'm like worried about that. I'm like, is she going to get them? Is some knucklehead going to take them at work and be like, oh, look, and just walk away with them? So until you confirmed that they were there and you got them, then I was like, okay. So then, But then I even stressed about the cake, which rightfully so, I should have stressed about it because it was the worst cake I've ever eaten. We took 1 fork full each and threw it out. It was like, this is nasty. But, we always have a good time. But it's those kinds of things that are you going to like it? Is this enough stuff? Did I get enough? I always think you deserve more. Yeah, I know, but whatever. To me, I deserve like a card and Merry Christmas. You deserve like this room full of, piled to the ceiling, and it should take you a couple of days to open everything, which it might this time. So, well, I don't worry about myself. I worry about you, or I try not to.
So I'm actually going to post this in my Google Classroom so they can all see it because it's longer than what I anticipated, which is fine. I'm also going to give them the option to ask any questions.
I had told you before, if you're allowed and you want to do an actual live Zoom with your classroom and they want to ask questions, because I'm sure there's things where they're going to go, well, what about, and I can do that as well.
Okay, well, I can do it. I don't need permission for that, but I'll also give them the option of watching this if they want to ask you any questions, and then they can just post it in the Google Classroom.
If you have a bunch of questions and then you want to do it live with the Zoom, that would be easier because then I know where they're coming from and it's coming straight from them as opposed to it being written in a sentence.
So the only issue with that is I usually don't have students until after 11:45 to 12 o'clock.
No, lately I haven't been going to sleep till 1 o'clock anyway.
Okay.
So I can always make an exception for one day and we'll figure it out.
All right. but I want to thank you for being so open and honest about everything. I know it hasn't been an easy 20 some years. But
I mean, if you go back, I had this when I was a kid. I've always had it. It didn't affect me the way it did starting in '93.
I do think in the last 8 years you have. I'm not counting this year coming up. I know it's
Not coming up.
Oh yeah, it's
The end of this month will be 9 years.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I
It's
mean.
9 years.
I think you've made strives. I know you're going to say you haven't, but I've seen.
Nothing that I would stand up and pat myself on the back for.
But I just think that, and you are right. I do think that mental health has to be more accepted and more understood. I don't think a lot of people understand it.
I also, just to add one more point to that, would be people also need to learn the difference between rational anxiety and nerves and irrational. What I have is irrational for the most part. Rational anxiety is being nervous because you have to go to court. Yeah, you should be nervous. Or, God forbid, you got diagnosed with cancer and you need to go in and have treatments. You should be nervous because of something like that. That should be something that causes nerves to a normal human being.
That's offensive, but go ahead.
So people, and I've had to learn that over the years, where I'm like, okay, I start to get a little anxious, but I don't let it go to the point of now stopping me or turning me into a complete panicky mess, because I can feel the difference between rational fear and irrational fear. Irrational fear is my head's going to catch fire for no reason and I'm going to die.
No, I get what you're saying.
I'm just suddenly going to die for no reason. Or the earth's going to open up and I'm going to...
and that's the fear.
There are some sinkholes, but anyway.
But that's the fear you have.
Yes. So I don't have that fear. I don't care if the earth opens up.
No, I understand that, but you meant the irrational fear.
When the panic disorder kicks in, it's completely irrational. Like, you're not going to get trapped. You're not going to die because you're sitting in traffic.
I get that.
You're not going to die because you're stuck in an elevator. Nobody's been stuck in an elevator that long.
But I do want to counterpoint one thing where you had made where if somebody is sick, they should have a fear. I also...
No, I didn't say fear. I said nerves.
Nerves.
If you get nervous because you're going in for an operation, that's normal. I'm not saying you should be me freaking out and people having to strap you down to keep you there. You're going under the knife. That is a reason to normally be a little nervous, apprehensive, anxious, whatever you want to call it.
Okay. I see where you're coming from.
Going to the dentist. A lot of people hate it, or deadly
correct.
Fear of the dentist. Even though most of it's pain-free and it's not that big of a deal. And to me, I don't care. But that's me. People are deadly fear of needles. I don't get it. That's just me. I don't care, obviously. And with phlebotomy and getting my blood drawn all the time, I watch them. They'll be like, "Oh, look away." I'm like, "No, I want to watch this." But other people can't do it.
No, I understand that.
But there is a difference between rational and irrational fear. And knowing that difference, learning that difference, it's something that you have to learn. Somebody is going down the street shooting. Yeah, that should, on a normal person, kick in your adrenaline and get you to hide behind a car. Mm-hmm. And you should be scared. Should you go into a state of complete, like a catatonic state where you can't move? No, because now you're going to become a victim. But I don't get nervous or scared in those situations, but most people do, and that's logical. It's rational. Nobody should be like, "What are you scared for?" Like, I would never say that to somebody. Like, you should be scared. There was a chance that you really could have died. Unlike me, sitting in a city street, stuck in traffic, and I'm going to run over 6 people to get out of that area because I feel like I'm going to die. That's irrational.
No, I understand that, and that's a good point.
So it's just knowing. I've learned over the past 30 years, whatever it's been. Like sitting in a doctor's office, and I start to, you get the butterfly kind of feeling, not butterflies, but that feeling in your stomach, and my legs start to bounce, and I'm like, just get into my games and play some game on my phone. And I know I just said about social media, but if you got like some little stupid Candy Crush or Call of Duty, you get into one of them, that'll kill the time that you're waiting, and you'll be so distracted you don't even those nerves will go away. And once I get into the office, I'm fine. I start talking to the doctor, blah blah blah, or whatever procedure's being done, I'm fine. But there is that, you do need to learn that.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And like I said, if they have, and I'll see if I can set something up with bringing you in via Zoom. But I appreciate how open and honest you are. And like I said, hopefully they'll learn something a little bit more than what I can. I can only teach them what the book says. You actually can teach them how you live it. So thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.